Great to see everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. We've got kind of a light audience today, so I'm assuming either the weather is nice where you are or there's some other stuff going on, but I'm really happy to have you guys with us. We've got a very full agenda today, and with this group determining 3 grant proposals and that will be presented in Ralph's section here. So thanks for joining us. So agenda for today, as I just mentioned, we'll be hearing from District Governor Jerry. And then if Amy's on the call, she's going to be sharing some information with us about her upcoming club training assembly. Then the district foundation team is going to be going over their year-end reports. We're incoming DRFCC Cindy will be introducing you to her team. That starts July 1. And then I like doing an education update for you. So that has a little piece in there. Then Kathy will be doing district grants, and then the 3 grant proposals that I referred to, Ralph will be handling that section, and then we'll have any Q&A at the end. So there's kind of our little agenda there for you. Thank you for that reminder, Tim. I appreciate it. Okay, District Governor Jerry, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Leanne, and good morning, Rotarians. As you know, this has been a challenging year for all of us. I think Tim summed that up pretty well in his statement, giving us the agenda. When the COVID virus first surfaced in 2020, we were all changed. In fact, our normal activity was thrown out and we had to all change. And Rotarians quickly adapted, first changing like so many others to this digital environment. And today is just a continuation of that change. Where we would normally have been in the past in person, this is on Zoom. But at this moment, we're cautiously moving toward the endemic environment and more in-person events in the district. One of the challenges I've had as your district governor was arranging an annual visit to each of our 60 clubs. And because of COVID, then the Delta strain, and then the Omicron, I had to delay these visits because I really wanted in person. However, as more and more Rotarians were protected with the COVID vaccine, I've been able to visit clubs in person around the district. And let me tell you, these visits have been nothing short of inspiring. Rotarians in every corner of the district continue impressive humanitarian work, making an impact in their communities in significant ways. And not only that, I'm really impressed because new members continue to be added to the district. We're really plus. We're almost 35, almost 40 plus from July 1st. My theme this year has been step up to the plate. In that regard, I want to honor the service of both Tim and Leanne Mobley, as well as the Rotary Foundation team for stepping up to the plate with their dedicated service to the members of District 5110. Tim is the chair of the district's foundation effort. You have not only stepped up to the plate, you have covered the plate well. You've hit a home run at every turn, and they've all been out of the park. So thank you, Tim, for your hard work. Thank you to the team that you work with for your dedication to Rotary service and the Rotary Foundation. I invite everyone to come and celebrate that dedicated work at the end of the month in Corvallis in April. The 29th and 30th, actually, we'll have a golf tournament first, and then club assembly on Friday. And then on the 30th, celebration of all of our work at the Alumni Center on the campus of Oregon State University. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate those kind words. I just wanted to also mention that you and I agreed to help out with the Ukrainian refugee effort and sent $10,000 to Shelterbox International USA to purchase 5 Shelterbox kits.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's part of the impressive work that's been going around the district, not only to the shelter box, but for the Rotary Disaster Response Fund, which is doing dedicated $50,000 grants prioritized to the crisis that is occurring in and around Ukraine.
Okay, so Amy, is she here?
Oh, there it is. That's a nice. Yeah, thanks for putting that slide together. That's a nice graphic there. Our public image team is doing a nice job of promoting this, and hopefully people will sign up to play golf. We're going to have home visits on Thursday after the golf. Friday is the club assembly and the first ever street party on First Street in Corvallis. There's a big mural that has been painted. It's dedicated to Rotary. It shows the service that we do. It illuminates the four-way test. And we're going to have axe throwing, a band, a big street party, a big celebration party, and a dunk a DG. So come and dunk a PDG or a DG with dedicated work.
Now I'm really sorry I'm going to miss it, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry, talk about if you dunk a DG, what will happen to the funds raised?
Well, we're working on that right now. I mean, we wanted to dedicate that to the foundation, but we haven't found a way to get that in a 501(c)(3) from the work. Lee Eckroth and Alan Underhoffler have been working on that. So we may dedicate that to polio, may dedicate that to shelter box. We're gonna announce the recipient of the funds.
Jerry, thank you. And thanks for your very challenging and hard work this year on serving our district. It really is appreciated. So
Thanks.
I'm going to ask if Amy is on the call. I don't see her on the participants list. So Cindy, maybe you and I can do a quick overview, and then you can do a deeper dive into the grants training that will be happening at the CTA. I'm doing my moving of people around here, guys. Hang on just a second. So you'll take a note of the slide here. Incoming or District Governor-elect, excuse me, Amy Walsh will be hosting on the, you want to change this? Oh, this is a club assembly slide. On Friday, the club training assembly, all day there. The program is on the district website, so I really encourage you all to check that out and get your reservations. And as Jim was saying earlier, it's gonna be great to be together that weekend. So I really encourage you all to join the celebration as well as the training for each of your club officers on that on Friday. Cindy, do you want to address specifically what opportunities are going to be available for any foundation training?
Sure. So on Friday, during the club training assembly, we'll have 3 different Rotary Foundation training opportunities. One will be an overview for president-elects on how district grants and global grants are administered. This qualifies PEs to sign district grants and global grants, and is really important for president-elects to attend and understand the responsibility related to the grants that their clubs sponsor. We'll also have a global grants training by Julie DeChiro, and we'll also have a district grant overview by Kathy Poole. All of these 3 training opportunities are really great for members who will be involved with grants in our district, so we can continue to be proud of the kind of excellence we put to our grants. Thanks, Leanne.
Great, Cindy, thank you. Okay, Tim, moving on. I would invite soon to be outgoing District Rotary Foundation Chair Tim Mobley to reintroduce his team and have them do a year-end report.
So Dave, Reese, do you have anything to share with us from your perspective as Fund Development Chair?
Yes. Try to find the button there, excuse me. Good morning. From the Fund Development Chair, we have a report from Nelson Mailer. You could read it in, Tim, regarding Polio Plus and the annual fund. And
Nelson's here, so he'll share that in a little bit.
great, super. And yes, as the screen shows, the endowment fund, which was one of my tasks, is to report on that. We this year's endowment is $14,600 to date, The good news is, though, that for 21-22, the endowment fund earnings from all past giving is $35,517.02 that goes to our DDF. So it's really, a legacy gift that you can make that'll just keep giving back and being put back to good use through grants and so forth. I've got a report from, is Bob Wersing on? Leanne, do you see him on there?
No.
Okay, you said, I asked him for an update on Paul Harris Society, and it isn't tabulated, so that's what I was doing when you called on me. I was counting those up, but we're roughly about 65 to 70 Paul Harris Society members. And the report on major donors and Arts Clump Society, we have 20 changes in status in this Rotary year. 17 have reached major donor level 1, 2 reached major donor level 2, and 1 reached donor level 3. It didn't appear to be any movement on the bequest as far as new bequests in this Rotary year, but overall for District 5110, we have a total of 256 major donors and 230 bequest society members.
Wow.
And
Well,
I would so I would report that 3 years ago, when I thought fund development was going to be putting on a party with Leanne, and we'd go around and make money for the foundation, and we could do cheer, cheer, and rah, rah. As District Governor Jerry said, we were shut down, and it's been a really disappointing and difficult task to raise a pom-pom and try to help folks raise money. But I'm very proud of all the Rotarians in District 5110 for their continued giving, and for the leadership of our other subcommittee chairs, Bob Wersing and Nelson Mailer, Steve Mathis before I took his endowment position, Alexi McNair as well. So with that, that's my report. Tim, I'll put that in writing and submit it so we can go to the annual report.
Great, thanks, Dave. I just want to mention for people who are new to the meeting that Paul Harris Society, to become a member, it's a donation of $1,000 a year. So that's what it takes to become a Paul Harris Society member, and you have to submit a form to the Rotary Foundation requesting that status. We have a number of individuals in the district who, for a variety of reasons, have decided not to submit the form. And so we actually have more Paul Harris Society members than our numbers actually show. To become a major, go ahead.
If I could, Tim, exactly. That's true. I actually pulled up, and I will tell you, there's been a difficulty for all of us, I'm sure, but trying to get the reports the last couple of days, RI's server and database has been down. So this morning it finally came back up so you could get at the reports. And if you use the My Rotary and go to district reports, the Paul Harris Society for District 5110 actually shows 389 members that are eligible to be Paul Harris Society or have actually signed up. So that's something I wanted to talk to Bob about, but we didn't get a chance. So you're right. And then one last thing is we have something in District 5110 called Triple Crown for major donors, Paul Harris Society members, and Polio Plus Society members. And to elaborate on that, a Polio Plus Society member is one who is pledged to give $100 at least for the next 3 to 5 years or until polio is eradicated, and then be a major donor. And then also, as Tim said, be a member of the Paul Harris Society by giving $1,000 a year to the foundation. That's enough for me. Thanks, Tim.
Sure. And to become a major donor requires a $10,000 cash contribution. It's cumulative over the years. Sometimes people get a little confused because to reach different Paul Harris levels, you can use a combination of points and and dollars, but to become a major donor, it has to be actual dollars. So 10,000 is a major donor level 1. $50,000 is a level 2, and it goes up incrementally that way. To become an Orange Clump Society member, it's a minimum donation. It can be cumulative of $250,000. So if you're more interested in that, you can drop Leanne or myself an email, and we can direct you to where you can find out more information about that. Nelson, you're up.
Well, hey, good morning, everybody. Yes, looks like Polio Plus here. We have really done a fantastic job. On the Polio Plus side, we've brought in quite a bit of money here, but when we look at our run rate vis-a-vis other years, we're still lagging behind for all the reasons that have already been discussed here this morning. So, I would encourage everybody here on the call to reach back out into your clubs and let them know that we have more wood to chop, so to speak. There's a lot of good news that comes out of the Polio Plus side of things, though, and that is that we currently have 741 current members of our district as part of the Polio Plus Society. In fact, we were the first district to really put forward this concept, and it's a concept that has been replicated throughout numerous districts in our zone, and is being given strong consideration at the RI level, is being embraced as a new program. As you can see on the screen, Afghanistan has been unfortunately a lagger there a little bit for us. We thought we had a good year or so under our belt, and then because of some of the warring that's happened there, they've had more resistance to allowing us to get into that area and do what we need to do. And because of that, they did have an outbreak. So their clock, of course, sets back up to 0. Whereas Pakistan, they're going fairly strong. It's basically a year and almost 2 months here where they have been polio free. And just so that the World Health Organization will, after its observations of a country that has been wild polio free for 3 years, then we'll come in and declare that country polio free. And that's really what we're looking at. So, and we really are down to 2 countries. Year to date, as you can see, we've only had 1 case, and I think that's great. And that was back on January 14th in Afghanistan. Just so to kind of give some background here, we had a total of 6 cases last year in 2021, 1 in Pakistan, 1 in Malawi, and 4 in Afghanistan. But that compares to in 2020, we had 140 cases. And then back in 2019, we had 176. So as you can see, we're making tremendous progress, and that's all wonderful. One of the sad notes that I'll share here at the committee is that during that uprising in Afghanistan, we actually lost 6 Polio Plus drop administrators, literally killed for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, so to speak. And this is part of the reason why we really need to bring forth a concerted effort to really push forward and to cross that finish line. So that's my report on Polio Plus. On the annual fund, we'll switch hats. We're doing really well vis-a-vis our goals, but we're a little shy, I think. Vis-a-vis our run rate, we're about $110,000 shy. So we've got another 3 months to try to push our effort towards that. As mentioned earlier here, the money that we bring in to our annual fund, half of that comes back to this district to help fund our district grants and our global grants. So the more we can do to help Rotary become strong, the more we help ourselves. And so I'm very happy to say we've got 58 clubs that have been giving towards the annual fund in excess of $26.50, which I believe is DG Jerry's goal. Our overall capital contribution rate is $128, which is absolutely phenomenal. So we continue to be gracious and generous with our our financial resources. And we just need to continue moving forward, just knowing that what we do today will have an impact on this district 3 years forward. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Nelson. Past District Governor Chuck, our Peace Fellow Chair.
Yes, thank you very much. Interesting year. We have a very good committee. Always looking for more. If people are interested, please let me know. We were able to interview 5 applicants this last spring. We referred 4 of them on to the Peace Center, and 3 were selected. Those are scholars from Ethiopia, and he will be, he's a refugee in the United States right now. He'll be going to Uppsala in Europe, and a native of Arizona who is a professor in Rwanda was accepted into the certificate program. And then Tamim, our Afghani scholar, to University of Queensland. If he can get out of Afghanistan, that's something we've been trying to help him with.
Right.
But all in all, a busy year for us.
So, Chuck, how do these people get referred, or how do you get their applications?
Well, we encourage applications from anybody at any time. If someone knows of a student that might want to earn a master's degree and has been out of school for a while with some practical experience, then we're interested in talking to them about the master's program. There's also a certificate program for someone that's maybe mid-career that's had at least 5 years of related experience. We're looking all the time. We're willing to take applicants all the time, and the Peace Centers at the TRF will refer us some as well.
So does this cost us any money in our district?
It does not, no. We've chosen many years to donate towards the program, and we've been considered a peace building district, but these do not require any money from the clubs or even the district.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it.
Sure, thank you.
Our Global Scholar Chair, Tommy Drake.
Hi there. Well, we have a Global Grant Scholar, Dina Kaskina. She is from Kazakhstan, and currently she is in the Netherlands at IPEACE, and she's a very good student. She's doing really well. We're expecting her here at OSU later on in the year. We also have been interviewing people to be Global Grant Scholars. They have to, it's a master's degree program in water cooperation development, which Corvallis clubs have been very greatly helpful to us. And let's see, we did help an Afghanistani Global Grant Scholar from last year, Najib Ludin, get out of Afghanistan. He's currently studying on a doctorate water studies program at Texas A&M. And so hopefully we will have a Global Grant Scholar for next year. And those people were from Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan. I am terrible at the pronunciation of these names. However, that's what we're looking forward to. Chuck and I both agreed that we would like the young woman, Jamila. She just was really right on. So
wonderful. So do these scholarships cost us money?
DDF.
DDF, right. Thank you, Tommy.
Mhm.
So this is my opportunity to thank this year's District Rotary Foundation Committee members. And it has been a challenging time to do fundraising and support our clubs as they've, in some cases, struggled to complete grants in a timely way because of COVID. Sometimes it's worked out well, and sometimes it's been a struggle to get things accomplished. And in a few cases, we actually had to cancel the grants. So hopefully moving forward, things will become a little easier to complete. I want to thank the Fund Development Chair, past District Governor Dave Reese, for his work. I want to thank DGD Nelson Mailer for his amazing work with Polio Plus. He's done a fantastic job. Thank you, Nelson. And also for stepping up and taking over the annual fund when Lexi couldn't continue. I want to thank Bob Worsing for Paul Harris Society. Bob's been working hard to get people registered for that once they meet the qualification. Tommy Drake has done a lot of work in helping our global scholars, and in some cases working with Chuck Root. Actually, we pulled somebody out of Afghanistan and are still trying to work with folks there. That's been a real challenge, and Tommy's put in a lot of time. Thank you, Tommy. Rotary Peace Scholars, past District Governor Chuck Root. Chuck has done a yeoman's job there, also working with Tommy on global scholars, and in this year working on global grants. So Chuck's been a busy guy. Thank you, Chuck. I want to thank the lovely Leanne Mobley for her work as a district subcommittee chair. I don't know what to say. She's amazing. District Grants Chair Kathy Poole. Kathy Poole, talk about amazing people. Kathy has done yeoman's work, and as Julie DeCuro knows, the District Grants Chair is one of the busiest chairs that we have, one of the most fulfilling, but there's a lot of work there, and Kathy has done a fantastic job. Thank you, Kathy. I want to thank Ralph Christensen for his work on global grants and supporting clubs as they do global grants, giving them feedback and helping them make it through. I want to thank past District Governor Hal Kibbe for his leadership as a stewardship chair and stepping up to help Kathy Poole with district grants. Also, Tim Quinlan has been a support for Kathy, and at the beginning, Bruce Garrett was able to help until illness sidelined Bruce. So I want to thank all those people for all their hard work. And lastly, I want to thank Heather Stosik for stepping up and taking over as our district grants treasurer and doing a great job there of keeping us legal. So thank you, Heather. I really appreciate that. So, you know, none of this works without a team. And, you know, I mentioned Chuck working with Tommy and Hal working with Kathy and Leanne working with several of the groups to make the whole process work. And the goal of this committee is to help clubs do good work in their communities and around the world. And as I step aside, we have a person who is taking over in my position, and she's on, and she's going to introduce the folks that she is aware of who are going to step up for the next round of the District Rotary Foundation Committee. So, past District Governor Cindy O'Neill, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Tim. I'm going to start by saying thank you to Tim and Leanne Mobley for absolutely stellar work with the Rotary Foundation fundraising, the Rotary Foundation grants, both local and global. These last 3 years, you've opened the doors for service for so many members, so many clubs, and served so many people in relevant ways. And I just want to say thank you. It is an honor to try to live up to the standards that you and Leanne have created for this committee. So thank you very, very much for this opportunity to serve the district in this way. I'm very honored. So the grants subcommittee chair. Well, guess what? We still have Leanne in our midst. And Leanne, thank you so much for stepping up again to lead the grants team for our district. Global grants will be led by Julie DiCiro. Thank you, Julie, for stepping up, as Governor Jerry says. Once again, moving from district grants and chairing the global grants team is going to be terrific. I look forward to hearing about the team that you develop and the kind of standards you put forward and help and assistance to clubs. District grants again will be led by Kathy Poole and her team. I lost the screen suddenly. Okay, there we go. Global Grant Scholars will again be led by Tommy Drake. Thank you, Tommy, for continuing on. Fund Development Chair is a vacant opportunity for members in our district who would like to inspire, lead, and strategize on how to increase our contributions across the district to the annual fund and to the Polio Plus funds. So contact me if you're very interested in being the fund development chair. I would welcome your help. Annual funds will be led by Corvallis Rotary Club member Alan Underculfer. Greater Corvallis, I think, is where Alan, if Alan's on the call, I just want to thank you for stepping up. Polio Plus chair will again be led by District Governor Designate Nelson Mailer. Thank you, Nelson. Paul Harris Society, I hope we'll continue to have Bob Worsing helping us with this important reward for members who give $1,000 a year. Endowment chair, this is also an empty slot for our team. If you're interested in helping us grow the endowment fund, please let me know. Stewardship chair is again past District Governor Hal Kibbe. Hal, thank you so much for your hard work and your continued dedication to this team. Grants treasurer will be, District Grants treasurer will be Heather Stosick again. Thank you, Heather. And our Peace Fellowship chair is past District Governor Chuck Root. Thanks, Chuck. And that's the team, minus an endowment chair and a fund development chair. Please contact me if you're interested in helping us build the team.
Great, thank you, Cindy. There was another note on that organizational chart. The executive committee for the district foundation team, the composition of that's going to be addressed at today's executive committee meeting. There we go. All right, Tim, next slide up. Let me get, whoops, multitasking here. Okay, next slide up there. I love sharing information about the district and what's going on here, kind of pulling us all out of our clubs and looking at the effectiveness of this committee, but how what's going on in all of our clubs collectively affects what we're able to do here at this meeting 4 times a year. So Tim, if I could have the next slide. I'm a numbers girl and I love sharing information, particularly in a graphic form so we can see what's going on here. Little teeny tiny, but I started gathering this information back in 2008 and up to date on the right-hand side is the 21-22 Rotary year. So you can, it's pretty easy to see over the last 5 to 6 years that we have been on a steady decline in giving to the annual fund. And as many of the committee members have represented today, is that money directly affects what we're able to do with district grants and what we're able to do with global grants. So big emphasis on this to take this information back to your clubs. I know clubs haven't been meeting in person and it's been a real challenge. with the COVID pandemic, but I think I'm also a firm believer in what we give our attention to grows. So I have every belief that our clubs can turn this around as we go forward into the future. So Tim, do you have anything else to say about that?
I just have one comment. You'll notice that the downturn started 2017-18, and that had nothing to do with COVID. And the downturn, COVID didn't start until 2019. 20, and as you can see, it continued down, but it can't all be blamed on COVID. Member loss, I don't know, a variety of factors probably, but we're losing 4 to 5% each year, which has a direct impact on what we're able to do with our grants and supporting clubs.
Thank you, Tim. And our next slide.
How Kibbe?
I'll just make a comment, Leanne, based upon that annual giving. DDF for next year is down significantly from what it was this year. My best guess at this point in time is that we're going to have only between $400,000 and $420,000 of DDF compared to $529,000 or $530,000 this year. So that number of 400 to 420,000 is still pretty iffy at this point in time because a lot of things can change, but we're going to be in that neighborhood someplace.
Great, Hal, thank you. And we've mentioned it a couple of times, and I know there are some new members to this committee who are on here, so maybe we take a little breath. Hal, do you want to explain, the DDF, the district designated funds, and how that 420 operates between district and global grants?
Well, each year we get back money in share, which for next year, the share amount is going to be about $225,000. And then we add to that whatever we carry over from this year. That carryover number is still pretty iffy, so I don't know that number for sure. But that $225,000 was based upon annual giving 3 years ago. So we gave approximately $450,000 3 years ago.
Right, and that $250,000 is split between district grant DDF and global grant DDF.
Yes, that's correct. And we cannot spend more than half of that share amount on district grants. We can spend up to 50%.
Thanks, Al.
Last meeting, I shared a memo that came out from the foundation trustees that they had opened up district and global grant opportunities for our Rotaract clubs beginning June 1st, going into the new Rotary year. Qualified Rotaract clubs could submit, excuse me, district grants, and on July 1, Rotaract club members could be sponsors of global grants. There, I use the word qualified. There is some stipulations from the Rotary Foundation to qualify Rotaract clubs for participating in those grants. I have a frequently asked questions list from the Rotary Foundation that during some of the presentations I will slip into the chat box. So if you want to download that document, or you can just find it on the Rotary.org Center. You see on this next slide, this for global grants, a Rotaract club to qualify needs to have these kinds of experiences. These are not additive, they're just an or. If they participated in a community assessment for a global grant, would qualify them. Raising funds for that grant, any participation in a public relations about that grant funded project, or certainly being active participants and implementing that grant would qualify them, particularly providing technical support and then doing any of the monitoring and evaluation of that project. So very specific for global grants. I've mentioned once already, following this meeting, Tim's executive committee will be meeting and looking at policies and procedures revisions for the coming Rotary year, and this is on his agenda to look at how the district will determine how we qualify our Rotaract clubs for participating in district grants, and we will include that in the new manual. I believe I'm correct, and Jim Polk is on the call. He can help me with this. We have 5 Interact clubs in our district. So I really encourage you, if your club is a sponsoring club for one of those Rotaract clubs, is share this information with them and to get them some experience, invite them. I don't think our qualifying characteristics are going to vary too much from what Foundation is suggesting here, is to get them involved with this so that they can participate in our grant project and have more impact on the things that are important to them as well. So again, I will check the chat box. I will put the full FAQ in there for you, or you can get that online at rotary.org. Thank you, Tim. And I think we're going to ask Kathy Poole to come up.
Okay, thanks, Leanne. Okay, quick update on district grants. I guess I should just make sure. Can you hear me okay? It's good?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Yeah, thanks to all of you for all your great work on district grant projects this year. And sorry, I'm seeing the flickering PowerPoint, so I might pull up my own too, just to be safe. But as you can see, we had 55, or I should say we have 55 district grant projects underway currently in the 21-22 Rotary year. And that represents $137,650 in district matching funds, plus that equal amount or greater from all of you, from your clubs. It also represents a total of 46 clubs that have participated or that are participating around the district. I thought it might be interesting for you to know that 11 of the projects, of the district grant funded projects, are international projects. And I think Tim mentioned earlier, international projects have certainly been challenging for many of you, but many of us the past couple of years of the pandemic. But nevertheless, a lot of you are really maintaining your ties with your international partners, and you can see that we've had a lot of really great projects from many places around the world, kind of several in, or I should say a few in East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, then over to South Asia and Nepal, and into Latin America, Grenada. And as Tim mentioned, in Ukraine, district designated funds also funded 5 shelter boxes just recently. So that's a really wonderful use of our DDF district funds. A total of 44 local projects out of that group of total of 55. I've just listed a few of the different things that you all are creatively using those funds to do in your communities. It's remarkable. I love reading about all of your great projects and the wonderful work you're doing in your communities. I also just want to kind of highlight 6 multi-club projects and mention to you that this is a great way if your club, if you want to leverage funds on local or international projects, doing a multi-club district grant is a great way to do that. And we have some really wonderful district grants that are multi-club grants with anywhere from 2 to 5 clubs combining their own club monies and then leveraging those district designated funds, the matching funds, anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, doing really remarkable projects. From Meals on Wheels up in Corvallis and the Tri-County area to food for kids, a backpack project down in southwestern Oregon, really, really great projects going on. So I also want to mention that that's a great way if you're feeling like your club is small and you don't have the energy or the money to do your own projects, think about partnering with other clubs in your area and doing something together, because it's a really great way to access those funds and to do good work. Just a few reminders on completing your grants during this Rotary year. The deadline for final reports is December 31st. So you've got until the end of this calendar year to finish your project and to finish your grant. Okay. I should add that new grants for 22-23 will not actually be funded until your final reports are complete for 21-22. So there's a little bit of a time issue there. While you have until the end of this calendar year to finish your projects from 21-22, you won't get any new funding until you do finish the previous year's projects. So just a reminder there. Also, I would really encourage you to consider uploading your receipts and, compiling all the materials for your final reports as you go along, rather than feeling like you need to wait till the end of the year to do that. It simplifies. DACDB is a great place to start uploading your receipts and save them, and then you don't lose them and you don't have some big pile of receipts to sort through at the end of the year when you're writing your report. Yeah, so also I'll add that there's at least a couple of grants, district grants this year whose grant writers have finished their reports. The projects are closed, so do that anytime. As soon as your project is complete, please go ahead and finish up your report. Just a review of the timeline for 22-23, the new grants. So June 1st is our application deadline for new grants. You have between June 1 and September 1 to make sure that all of your documents that are required to complete that report, or excuse me, that application, are in and uploaded and approved. So September 1 is kind of the so-called drop dead deadline to make sure everything is in place and that you will get your 22-23 grants funded. And then you have until December 1. So we're moving up the deadline for the final reports in that next year, December 1, 2023, to finish the final reports for those grants for 22-23. Also, as I just mentioned in the previous slide, December 31 of this year is the deadline for this year's district grants. Also, just a quick reminder, spending for any new money on your 22-23 new grants can only begin after your grant is formally approved. So you'll need to submit it by June 1. It will need to be approved by the Rotary Foundation and the district before you can actually start spending that money. Okay, and following on Tim's comments and thank yous and Leanne's thank yous, I want to just say a big thanks to the folks who've been working on district grants this year. I did not list Bruce's name on there. Bruce was part of our team as well. Unfortunately, wasn't able to continue working with us after some health issues, but huge thanks to Hal Kibbe, who's really my major partner in crime in making sure all of this happens. Huge thanks to Tim Quinlan from Grants Pass, who stepped up and joined the team along with Bruce Garrett this year, working with us in the review and evaluation process. So it's been a great year. It's a great team of people. You are absolutely welcome to reach out to any of us with your questions about your district grants. That's the group that will be working into the coming year. Hal is also in the process of confirming one more team member to work on district grants in this coming year. So as soon as we confirm that last name, we'll let you know that. But there'll be a group of us ready to respond to your questions and your ideas and help you with your district grants.
Thank you, Kathy, and you guys have done a wonderful job. I do want to mention that back at the January meeting, Qrtly Grants meeting, I asked if there were people to submit any changes that they thought would be helpful in making the whole process a little easier for writing district grants. What we got a number of folks who gave us input. And as Leanne mentioned, following this meeting later this afternoon, the executive committee will be getting together and looking at the possibility of making some changes. And as soon as those changes are out, we'll get that out to everyone. But I am sure that you will be happy with hopefully some of the things that we're able to accomplish this afternoon that will make the writing of district grants a little bit simpler. One of our biggest challenges is when you ask who's responsible for the district grant DDF, ultimately the district governor is responsible. And the district governor, the district Rotary Foundation Committee is responsible. So if our district were to be audited for the use of district grant funds, we would have to go to DAC-DB to show how our funds were spent and making sure that none of the funds were mishandled. So if you feel like we're picking on you because we can't figure it out, it's because we may have to figure it out if we're called on by the Rotary Foundation to show that we're being good stewards of their money. So please know that it is nothing personal, that our job is to support you to make your projects as successful as possible, but we still have to be accountable to the Rotary Foundation for the use of those funds. And I think we will make some changes this afternoon that will make it somewhat easier for you in writing your final reports for your district grants. Thanks.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Kathy. And you know what, I'm just going to again add accolades to what a fabulous year. And it's really all about what our Rotarians and our clubs are doing in their communities and around the world, and leveraging that. What did you say that your total was? Nearly about $150,000 in doing some great things in communities over this past year. So thanks everybody for their hard work. Hal, did you have anything to add to that before we move on to global grants?
No, no, nothing. I think that things are going to get simplified this afternoon. And so I didn't really want to comment too much on stewardship until I saw what those were. Kathy and I'll certainly cover them during the district grants training session on April 23rd.
Right, great, thank you. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
Okay, Ralph, we're going to bring you up next.
Hello, glad to have all of you here. I just want to give you sort of a little background about where global grants have come from. This district has been recognized for a number of years as being one of the most active districts in doing international projects through the global grant process and the previous process. And sometimes we had dozens of grants a year, but there's been changes at the TRF making grants larger, and it's the average size of most clubs is not such that they can always easily do a global grant. They're just too big. So clubs have to kind of get together in order to get the funds together in order to do a global grant and reach the $30,000 minimum size. So those changes have made it so that we don't have as many grants as we used to. We're probably at about 6 to 8 grants a year, where we used to do dozens. And I might just really encourage clubs that used to do smaller global grants to take a look again at the district grant in order to do a global project, a project that's international. I think another thing that's changed is that there used to be a cadre of, what I would call them old guard or old timers, but there's quite a few of us that have joined that club. And they used to do most of those global grants, and little by little they have moved on, let's say, and they're not as engaged as they used to be, and we haven't trained up a new, younger cadre of people doing those global grants. And I think that's something that we can work on in the district. So this year we have available about $207,000. Today we're going to request about $69,000, and that's going to leave money that's going to go over to the next year. And if over a 3-year period, I think it's a 3-year period, if we don't get that money used, then the TRF's going to try and have that money back. So we really need to have some projects that we put together that make this really work. And I would suggest that clubs start getting together a lot earlier to see if they can do that. I'd be happy to help you with that. in any way I can, in whatever capacity I can. Today,
Ralph,
yes.
I just want to mention it's a 5-year cycle.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
don't think that we'll have a problem if we get the 6 to 8 grants a year, because they use the oldest money first. They have a method of tracking that. So I echo your desire to have more clubs involved in writing more global grants.
Yes, and I'd really, I'd be happy to go to any club and, kind of talk to them about the benefits of that. Not so much to the people that you're having the grant with, but for your club. I think you'll find that those of us who have written global grants usually find that we get more out of it, we think, than the people who actually we have written the grant for. So it's a great experience, and I'm preaching to the choir here that it'd be really good to be getting that information out to the rest of the district. So we have 3 global grants that are coming and asking for money today. And I think the first one is in Ecuador. And I believe that I just went blank on who's going to do this.
Chuck.
Yes, that's it. Chuck, that's it. They're that old guys, right? So Chuck, if you'd give us a rundown, a little short snippet about what this is about and what you're asking for.
Sure, thank you very much. I'm sure there are a few people on the call today that were not with us 3 months ago. So let me summarize that. To my knowledge, this is the first time that another district has brought an international project to us. Rotaract Club in Ecuador, Cambaya Rotaract Club, has been working in the Amazon, helping the villagers there for a couple of years. And they would like to do a lot more to help 5 different villages. So this project, as the slides shows, is projecting to plant 12,500 trees, that many of which will add to the diet, fruit trees and whatnot, that add to the nutritional value of the food for the villagers there. Currently, many of them are only eating 1 meal a day. So this is a long-term project because it's going to take a little while to grow trees. But it's pretty exciting, and it's one that will be one of the first environmental projects that Rotary International has done under that new area of focus. We've been working with the Rotaract Club and have determined that they are not qualified to be the lead club yet. As Leanne was talking earlier, things are changing for Rotaract clubs. And so after this project, they will be able to be the lead club. So we've had a good discussion with the governor in District 4400 this last week, and they are contributing $5,000 in DDF, which is also something that's pretty unusual. And we have received lots of support from our own clubs. Those that were at the meeting 3 months ago really stepped up to the plate, as Jerry would say, and we have pretty much all of the matching money that we need, just a little less than $200 left to raise, and so we're really excited about that. We've had several Zoom meetings with the Rotaractors. They presented to my club. As the slide shows in yellow there, we're asking for $24,348 in DDF. So if there are not any questions.
Thank you, Chuck. Are there any questions, any discussion?
Chuck, I do have, once this is approved, Tommy Drake said she would donate the final $200.
Wow. Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah, I
Listen,
also saw, sorry to interrupt, that the Rotary Club Bend would donate the balance needed as well. So it's a toss up.
We, there are
What are
great
we-
Rotarians, great clubs out there. Awesome.
Well,
Okay.
this is Jerry Harris from the Rotary Club of Eugene. I have a question, Chuck.
Sure.
Could you, since this is a long-term project, I'm reading through the grant, I couldn't tell if who owned the land that the trees were going to be planted on, and is there a memorandum of understanding with the landowners so that that land will be able to continue to be used by the people who are planning this project?
It's my understanding that the laws, the ownership laws in Ecuador are much different here, and that is will not be a problem, but we will definitely address that. Someone else has brought that up. I don't think it's going to be a problem at all.
Okay, thanks.
Other discussion or questions? If there aren't any, I would,
This is Julie DeCiro. I did have my hand up. I was waiting for someone
Okay.
to see that, but
I can't see you.
I know. So I not so much as a question as a comment that, first of all, Chuck, thank you to you and your club for taking this on. I think there's a lot of uncertainty about this type of a project, working with Rotaractors and all kinds of things. So thanks for your ability to take a few risks with this and see how it all comes out. And I'm hoping that you can keep us updated as we move forward on how things are going, because I think we have a lot to learn from this project. That if this can be a successful project, I think it's replicable in many areas of the Amazon, and will really help with the deforestation issues and other things that all of us depend on for helping us with our environmental issues that exist in the world right now. So just a thank you to you and your club for taking this project on. And we're very happy, the Rotary Club of Ashland is very happy to provide the $2,000 that we're donating to support this, because we were really interested. We weren't willing to take the kind of risks that you were taking. So thank you for doing
Sure,
that.
Julie. I should mention 9 clubs and 4 individuals have stepped up to fund this. And I did send out an update to them this last week. And I'm very willing to add anyone else to my list to update periodically as we go through.
Chuck, if I might add, we have a very active environmental committee in District 5110 led by Nikki Rizzardi. And our commitment this year is to continue with a pledge and to plant trees. So the challenge for every Rotarian in the district, and I've been advancing this in my district governor visits, is every Rotarian is charged with planting a tree this year. And that's in keeping in aligning with Ian Reesley, who is past district president, Rotary International president, who has really been instrumental in getting the environment added as our 7th area. So that's why I love this project, and I love the last grants meeting where these very enthusiastic Rotaractors presented.
Yes, very good. Thank you, DG Jerry.
Hey, if I could interrupt, this is Cindy O'Neill. I just wanted to recognize Dan Smith, who may or may not be still on the call, for bringing this project to the attention of District 5110. It's great to have a brave member, Rotary member from the Rotary Club of the E-Club State of Jefferson, go to Ecuador and find a project like this. It's truly wonderful to have someone like that in our district take the initiative to bring this forward. So thanks to Dan Smith, if you're still on.
And Dan does the Voices of Rotary, another great service to all of us.
I think this project is really unique in another way, Chuck, and that And that is that not only is it an eco project, but it also, because of the way it's structured, it also is a benefits the economic development in that area. It actually has a component of ongoing nursery stock, ongoing recovery of resources from the fruit that not only feeds the people, but as it makes a commodity that they can sell. So it really shows that an ecological project is also an economic development project. And what a great marriage that is. And that's a great story to tell. So I just think it's great. So I would ask for the question if there aren't any other questions.
So we need a motion, and I have a poll to do the vote, Ralph, when you're ready.
Excellent. Do we have a motion?
I move
Yeah.
for approval.
Is there a second?
I second that approval, that move.
Okay.
Who was the second?
Leanne, could you put up the poll?
Jim Lefebvre.
Thank you, Jim. And again, just to remind everybody, if you're on this call, you are part of the grants committee and are allowed to vote. So based on all the information you've heard, please participate. Okay, I'm going to end the poll, share the results with you.
Thank you very much.
Well, Chuck, it was close, but you made it.
It was close, baby. Yeah.
I had my fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right. Congratulations.
I'm trying to get there. My cursor keeps going away.
So Tim's going to be bringing up the next slide, and I believe it's the Belize project. Oh, nope. It's you, Ralph.
All right. So this is a project that my club is bringing forth. So I'm going to tell you about it. Behind this project is about 10 years of time where this village has been asking us to put in a latrine for their market because people are just going to vacant lots near the market and doing their business. And we have declined to do that for a decade. And then finally, they got together a plan for how they could take care of the latrine, how they would fund it, how they would do all the things they needed to do with it. And so we funded that latrine, and the latrine got put in. And part of that latrine plan was that the city of DePong, which is about 20 kilometers away, would come with their pumping truck and pump out the sludge that accumulates in the septic tank that this latrine uses. Well, it turns out that that fell through after we had put the latrine in, because the city of DePong is so busy with their pumping truck that they don't have time to go 20 kilometers away and pump this latrine. So the health committee there that was taking care of the latrine, they had that part of the plan. They decided that they needed to have their own sludge removal process. Historically, the way that's done is they'd put a rope on a person and put them down into the septic tank, and they would, with a shovel and bucket, clean it out, which is, frankly, must be fatal to 20% of the people that ever go in one of those. At any rate, they decided they needed a pumping system to do that. We gave them a kind of a target budget and asked them to see what they could do, since they had asked us to do this for them and to help them with this. And it turns out that what they did was they have worked out a set of equipment that actually is small, easily repaired, locally procured, that is designed to do exactly what they want to do. And then they've worked out with the village a 500-hectare area that they're going to put the sludge on, so that they have a safe place to place the sludge that won't put at risk the other people around them for health reasons. And then they're going to make a soybean cooperative out of that, so that this nonprofit public health committee that is in this village will then have another revenue source. And I just found out a week ago that they already have 16 other sludge places that need to be cleaned out. And so they already are starting to line people up to do that. The cash pledged $8,600, not exactly correct. We have about 4,000 from our club, or 4,500 from our club. We could use about 4,000 more to cover all those costs, but we're asking for $17,000 in DDF today, and from whatever help we can get from clubs that could possibly help us with this project.
Okay, Ralph, I apologize. That's my fault. I misinterpreted your pre-app. So to be very clear, you need about $4,000 in club cash in order to move this grant forward. And again,
Yes.
It's passive education for the committee to present a pre-app on a global application. The club needs to have at least 50% of the club cash available, which you obviously do. I'll kind of help Ralph do this since he's, is there any questions about his grant? Ralph, we did have one come in, specifically what country does this take place in?
Togo. This is in Togo. It's just a small, about a 40-mile by 400-mile long country in West Africa. If you understand the bite of Africa, where Africa goes from running north and south to running east and west on the west side of Africa. If you're running north on that north-south part and don't make the corner, you'll run right into Togo. And this village is at the north end of Togo, which is in the Sahel. So it's kind of strongly influenced by the weather of the Sahara Desert. So it's kind of place, weather-wise, climate-wise.
Great, thank you for that. We do have a couple questions. Curtis, you want to go unmute yourself and go ahead?
So I was wondering if there's any concerns or about passing on diseases that people using the latrine might have left in their waste, and it goes on to a food crop, in this case soybeans. That's potential passing on viruses and other things. So how is that dealt with?
Sure. First of all, there's two things there that are important, are pretty important. One is for the actual workers who are removing the waste. And so part of this project is to provide them with protective clothing, boots, gloves, protective clothing, masks, goggles, so that they don't get stuff splashed on them and become ill. The other one is where do you put the waste so to make sure that it doesn't get public traffic, or you're not so close that flies are landing on the waste and going back to other people. And the third one is does this waste have something that would actually transfer to the food crop, the soybeans? And it turns out that in Africa, where we put this kind of waste, you put it on top of the ground, and then the sun will, within about 2 to 3 days, kill every pathogen that's in it. So that's part of the reason they put it on the ground. Another option would be, and we have discussed this with them some, is that they would actually lime the waste as they move it. But there may be an economic issue with the ability for them to do that and still, make the thing economically viable. So the solar response is they can do that, but the other liming the waste as they transport it may or may not be economically viable. We have not yet determined whether that will work. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm glad they're giving it consideration. The other thing about liming is it changes the pH of the product now, and that could change the pH of the soil might not be good for the plants as well. So that needs to be
Yeah,
considered.
in this region of the Sahel, the soil that's there has been developing for the last 2.5 billion years. And so it's pretty depleted. And it's mostly, it's almost like as if you were trying to grow crops in sand. It works real good to start with, and then there's no nutrients. And so using this sludge as a fertilizer is very important to their use. Eventually, they may actually get it into a composting process and be able to actually sell some of the sludge to other farmers. So it's another economic possibility for them.
Okay, thank
Very
you.
good. I just wanted to make sure that that was being properly considered.
Really is. It's very
Thank you,
important.
Curtis. Jim Lefebvre has a question as well. Jim, go ahead.
Hi, Ralph. A very interesting project. As I understand it, your club had a prior grant and project where the septic systems were installed. And at that point, there was an agreement with a local city to empty this. And then at some point, that city decided not to honor that agreement. So my question is this anomaly something that happens frequently?
Yeah, I don't know very many global grants that go exactly the way you think they're going to go when you start. So being flexible is very important. I can give you an example from even from this same place. When we started 10 years ago, the first thing we put in was wells, because that's what everybody does, right? You go to a place and you give them clean water. It turns out that the type of piping that we put in and the chemical nature of their groundwater, within 3 years, it had eaten through the wall of the pump pipe that lifts the water, so that it wouldn't work anymore. And we had to go back and replace every one of those wells with stainless steel instead of the black steel we originally used, just because the water was so corrosive. It is, you have to be prepared that it isn't always going to work just exactly the way you want it to. And it's why I encourage you to go to a place, go to a project, and once you start there, go back, go back, go back. One thing is it keeps you from scattergunning all of your resources and then not really making a change that is significant. Put your resources in one place, make it a model. Other people will then, with their own resources, start to copy that model. And so we went through wells, latrines, teaching people how to make their own private latrine for their own household. It's just a process, and you can always go back and fix those things that don't work, because oftentimes things don't work right to start with. Excuse me.
Great, Ralph. I think that's all the questions that we have. So I'm going to, same process as last time, I'm going to call for a motion and a second to approve the 17,000 in DDF that will go towards this fabulous project in Togo. Ralph's got a long history there, and yes, Rotarians have to pivot, and yes, we need to be flexible, but this is a great project, and thank you for all of that. Once the next step will be, once the DDF, you can hear Tim encouraging me, the DDF has been approved, which I imagine it will be, then Ralph has asked for consideration. He needs an additional 4,000 in club cash. So we will all then entertain any donations at that time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ask for the motion.
So the motion is to approve the project and the DDF that's requested.
It's to approve the DDF, right? Yeah. Ultimately, with our input for this project from this committee, it's the TRF staff that has, in the review, has to go through them for the project to be approved and actually happen. So I have a motion from Alan to approve. Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Tommy. You guys are making my job easier. I can read who this is. So we have a motion made and seconded to approve the 17,000 in DDF on the project as presented from the Springfield Twin Rivers Club. I will launch the poll again with the same ask. That you enter your vote. I will end the poll, share the results. And again, congratulations, Ralph, to you and your club on this great project.
Thank you so much.
So now on Ralph and his club's behalf, I will ask, are there any clubs who are prepared to donate additional club cash to this project?
This is Ike Lonstein from the Reed Sport Club. The Reed Sport Club at this point will donate $500 towards this project.
Ike, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ike. By the way, Ike has been to Nano, Togo.
Oh, fabulous. And we have in the comments, Rogue Valley After 5 will donate $500. Thank you, Janelle.
Rotary Club of Eugene will donate $500 too.
Larry, that sounds like you.
No, it's Jerry Harris.
Oh, Jerry. All right. I have 500 from the Rotary Club of Eugene. Thank you.
Greater Corvallis will donate 500 towards it as well.
That would sound like Alan. 500. Thank you. So we have $2,000 so far. You're halfway there, Ralph.
Wonderful.
Leanne, did you get the 500 from Rogue Valley After 5 in the comments?
I did. So I have to review Reed Sport, After 5, Eugene, and Greater Corvallis for a total of 2,000. Well, Ralph, I think that's it, but please, I encourage all of you take this back to your clubs. Obviously, some of you don't come prepared to donate money. You don't have that agency to do that, but please go back to your clubs. Clubs are very generous, and see if you can support this and contact Ralph so they can finish out this project. Thank you. Ralph, any last things you want to say about that?
No, just thank you very much. I just see Rotary in action. What a wonderful deal.
Boy, isn't that the truth? That's the best part about this. Okay, we have one global grant remaining, Ralph.
Yes, this one, Kim Nelson is the spokesperson for this, and you can see that it's a wonderful project in the Belize. And Kim, I'll just ask you to summarize this.
Okay, thank you. If it's possible, can I share my screen so that I have a presentation to share?
Oh, sure, Kim, I didn't know that. And I wanted to clarify again, numbers that I was pulling, Kim, from the application, exactly how much DDF you needed. And what I did, you stated how much World Fund match you wanted, which that comes in at 80%. So I actually worked backwards and put down the DDF. So before we take the vote, let's make sure that
I will clarify.
You agree with that. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you so much. Okay, can you all see my screen?
I do.
Yeah. Okay, great. Let me just get rid of my, okay, so thank you for allowing us to present today. Here in Belize, actually, which is where I'm at, but I am a member of the Rotary Club of Greater Corvallis. We are presenting this project for New Horizon Elementary School. And the school is located here in San Pedro town, which is on the island of Ambergris Key. And Belize is not a wealthy country. The majority of its schools were built by NGOs and private organizations. All of the schools on the island here have been privately built, and in some cases, UNICEF assisted with upgrades. The government of Belize is operating under an austerity budget for the last several years, which has been exacerbated by COVID. And public schools, including New Horizon Elementary, they're not free, and each family is responsible for their own children's enrollment fees, their annual school fees, uniforms, school supplies, books, and they even have to pay for their desks. To put that in context, the minimum salary in Belize has not changed since 2012, and it is currently at $1.60 US per hour. And the average monthly family income in Belize is approximately $800 US. New Horizon School sits on a former swamp. The school is staffed by 5 administrative personnel, 21 teachers, and has 500 students that are split between the morning and afternoon sessions. The students range in age from 5 to 14 years old. And the school has 5 male student commodes and 5 female student commodes, and there are none dedicated for staff. And in order to meet Belizean standards, the school also needs to build 1 more male and 1 more female dedicated staff fixture. Hang on a second here. Okay, so this is the view of the school from the outside, the school building, the grounds, the lunch area, and the existing restrooms. This arrow shows you where the restrooms are located on the site. And then this is a shot of the existing restrooms. The restrooms were previously painted and cleaned up by the Rotary Club of Ambergris Caye. What's important to note here is that during the rainy season, the grounds that you're looking at here become saturated, and the effluent from the toilets rises to the surface, contaminates the grounds, and then causes extremely unhealthy and hazardous conditions for everybody there. The project that we're proposing will include the installation of a new wastewater recycle system for the school that will help to minimize, if not eliminate, these unhealthy and hazardous conditions. And while there are other schools on the island that experience similar conditions, the Rotary Club of Ambergris Caye, in consultation with the San Pedro School District, determined that improvements to this school's drain field was the most urgently needed issue to resolve. This is a sketch of the proposed system that we would install, and the project consists of fabricating and installing a toilet waste recycling system that will minimize and/or prevent these unhealthy conditions. The system has already been installed at resorts in the area that allow them to reuse the water for flushing of toilets as well as for irrigation. It's been used in department stores in Belize City for restroom use and using the recycled wastewater for gardening use. It's been used in polyclinics on a smaller island, Key Cocker, and in Placencia, where the treated water is used in gardens. There are currently 2 other projects underway using this system. One is in Placencia that will use the water for sprinkler irrigation, and the other is in Belize City at the Atlantic Insurance Building that will reuse the treated water for green areas and washing of parking lots. All of the work on this project would be completed using local craftsmen, local shops, and materials as much as possible. This system can be easily repaired by local craftsmen, and it uses straight off the shelf components that are available locally. Additional commodes and urinals, like I mentioned previously, for adults will be installed, along with handicap accessible fixtures that are sized for the children. Once this is installed and the commodes and urinals have been installed, the local Rotary Club, as well as the Rotary Club of Greater Corvallis, will participate in a general cleanup and painting of the school. And the whole project is expected to take about 7 months to complete. This picture here on the left just is an example of the office space for the administrative personnel. And this picture here on the right is a close-up of the outdoor eating area which is also the break room, the lunchroom, and the playground. And this area here gets used every day in all weather conditions. So the grounds that you're seeing here is where the children play. And as you can see, there's not even much of it. And during the rainy season, the combination of this already sitting on a previous swamp, it becomes drenched swampland. And then that effluent overflow is all in this area, creating that hazardous playground and eating area that children and staff are walking around in, and then they carry this contamination home to other families. This is a picture of one of the children's restrooms, and this picture shows the existing septic tank that overflows during the rainy season, adding to these unhealthy conditions. The operating and maintenance instructions, including training on the system, all of that will be provided by the environmental contractor upon completion of the project so that it's sustainable by the local people. The ongoing maintenance will be handled by New Horizons maintenance manager. So right there on site, in partnership with the Seventh-day Adventist Building Committee, who actually built the school originally. Our project team also proposes that we develop a hygiene pamphlet and create a video that we can distribute to students to share with parents and siblings. That those informational materials will include demonstrations and information on hand and food washing and ongoing education regarding sanitation at both school and home. The ultimate goal is to reduce those sanitation issues in the environment, and additional goals or bonus goals, if you will include water conservation and enhanced hygiene awareness. So this is the group of wonderful clubs that are participating in this project with us. Currently, we are short $6,638 from club contributions, and would invite everybody here today to feel free to participate with us. And if you can't, we're still confident we're going to raise these funds. What we're asking for in district matching funds is $27,276 to complete this project. And our hope is that once this is complete, it becomes an easily replicable project to implement, not just on the island, but in other similar locations as part of Rotary's focus on water, sanitation, and hygiene. Thank you.
Okay, so Kim, I have 27276 is the DDF request.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Okay, are there questions for Kim? I might point out something that I looked at with this, and it was that this system requires electrical costs, and that is addressed by Kim. And this actually will help the school with other issues about costs, and will actually make it so that they actually spend less money instead of more. So that's a very clever use of this system. So
thank you, Ralph.
Other issues?
I
Jim
see somebody.
Hi, Jim Lefebvre here. I just have a question. First of all, I think this is a great project, and I love the Caribbean. My wife and I spent our honeymoon in Belize. It's a beautiful place. But my question is concerning the existing septic system. Will this be being removed or capped off in some manner so that it doesn't continue to overflow in the rainy season when the soil is saturated?
Yes, that is part of the project. This will actually be the replacement of the existing septic system.
I have a follow-up question then. So there will no longer be a leach field out there?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I have another question. This is Jerry Harris again. So New Horizon Schools is identified on the internets as a Seventh-day Adventist school. You refer to it as a public school. Is it a public school?
It is.
So
It is a public school.
anyone, regardless of religious affiliation, can
Go there. Mhm. Yeah, New Adventist built the school as a public school, and they provide ongoing support of the school. But every child that goes to that school is still responsible for paying all of those fees that I talked about.
My concern was that there's no requirement of religious requirement to go to school.
There's none.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure all the schools in Belize are built by religious affiliations, and they're all public
Most,
schools.
yeah, I think almost all of them are, yes. But it is definitely a public school.
Hey, Ralph, no other questions. So you want to entertain a motion?
Yes, I would entertain a motion. I will tell you, Kim, though, that I think I know where there's a sludge pumping group of people that could come and pump your sludge from that.
We should talk about that, Ralph.
Yeah, there might.
I was paying attention to that too.
There you go.
Although I'm going to
Did I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve this. I'm Keith Nelson. I'm no relation to Kim, though.
But thanks, my brother.
This is Heather Stosick from Rogue Valley After 5. I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I would call for the question. Leanne?
I am ready. And while I'm doing that, Cindy O'Neill in the chat box had asked what's the real total cost of the project. And I believe I have that represented correctly, Kim, at $80,733.
Let me just double check that. But yeah, that's close. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Ralph, here comes your poll.
Right.
Okay, last call. And I'm going to end the poll and I will share the results. Yay, congratulations, Kim.
All right, are there clubs out there who prepared to help come out with a $6,638 that she needs to get this project running?
I'm not shameless. Do it for the children. Come on. Come on, they're adorable. Thank you, Rogue. Thank you, Twin Rivers. Thank you, thank you.
Just like Leanne said before, any of you who can take this back to your club, contact Kim, because this is a great and worthy project. Let's get those kids' shoes out of that messy water. So.
Thank you so much. And I'm putting my email in the chat just in case you find out later that you can participate. I really appreciate this.
Ralph, any final comments?
I don't have any final comments other than, you know what, Rotary is great. We're going to get this funded. We're going to do all these projects. We're going to make a change in this world, one project at a time. So great.
I like that.
Thank you all.
Thank you, thank you. Okay. All right, we'll kind of move along the agenda here and bring this to a close. The slide you see up here now, we've sort of teased you a little bit. I will go back and remind you of the district conference coming up the last weekend in April. Please attend that. That Friday will include Amy's club training assembly. That will be happening then. Oh, great stuff and a wonderful opportunity to get together with your fellow Rotarians. There's another date to put on your calendar, and Kathy referred to this, April 23rd from 9 until 10:30 in the morning, Pacific Daylight Time. There'll be a 90-minute session that's required for the person who will be authoring your club's district grant. It's going to be a great program. I think of most benefit, as you heard Tim say, that he is getting his executive committee together after this meeting, that they will be looking at any revisions to our policy and procedure manual. So all of that will be incorporated into that training. So it would be great for everyone to be there to hear that. It includes Hal Kibbe, who you heard from earlier today, also Kathy Poole, and then Lynn Kelly, who is the staffer for DAC-DB, will be on there as well. So it's going to.
She's the one who actually wrote the program.
You hear Tim, she's the one that actually wrote the program for the grants module, which there continue to be enhancements on that year to year to year. So please get your calendars marked for that. Join us and make sure that if your club is going to be participating in a global grant as the primary author this year, you have that person who attends this meeting. I will be recording it. So if you want to go back and double check what you think you've heard, or if that person has not been able to attend, they can listen to the program that way. But I think it's always much, much better in first person because you can ask clarifying questions. So I have somebody with their hand up. Julie?
Yeah, Leanne, is that going to be advertised out to the clubs? Since this is a new requirement, there's never been training before required for a district grant. I think we need to do a pretty good push on making sure people understand this is required this time.
Yeah, actually, this is not a change. We will be getting this out. I just got this posted on DAC-DB. Greg Stewart did a quick turnaround for me on that. So people can go there and register now. And I fully plan on, once Tim has finished up his meeting today, is putting out flyer notices to club leadership, to district leadership, to the assistant governors included in that group, et cetera, and all any
Great.
clubs that have incoming officers recorded for next year, they will get that as well.
Great.
So yeah, we'll do a great job of getting it out there so people know this is coming up. But thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about that.
Great, thank you.
You bet, you bet. Let's see.
And Leanne, could I just mention that the next quarterly grants meeting, the first of 22-23, will be July 9th.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect, Cindy. Thank you. I had that on my closing list of comments here, that you and I would be working on that and coordinating with Amy's district calendar. So that's good to know. We'll all get that on there for the 9th, and then we'll figure out the remaining 3 meetings for that. And Cindy, do you know if that's going to be in person?
Well, I wish I had a magic genie that says yes, but that's our intent. And I'm thinking the first one may be in Eugene, close to DGE Amy Walsh. So we'll shoot for Eugene somewhere, maybe that really nice facility where we've done trainings before and grants meetings. It's fabulous. So that's my intent. We'll see how things work out with COVID.
Yeah, great. Always to watch that, but I would fully support and be right on board with you to help you put that together. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Let's see, what have we got up next here? Any other questions from the group? We really didn't take too much pause other than at the grants section to see if anybody had any questions. But if anybody has any clarifying questions that they need from today, now's your opportunity. Hold your hand up and I'll check on that. Seeing none, looks like we took care of.
Leanne, I had a question.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
I actually put it in the chat. And this is, whenever I come to these meetings, I always get confused about where all the numbers actually are coming from. And so I had asked if you could use that last project as an example. Like you said earlier on, there's a 30% minimum for something. I didn't know where that money, that 30% came from. What the World Fund is, people are asking for World Fund money as opposed to DDF, as opposed to TRF. That confuses me. And so I was wondering if you could use that last project where she had her spreadsheet up to sort of, and again, this is, if no one else is interested, then we can skip it. But it's always confusing to me.
Sure.
And not this one, she had a more detailed one.
Yeah,
but
that Kim had her slide, and what Kim was using and is available and will make available on the district page is what's called the Global Grant Calculator. And so it allows us to play with some numbers, because you're right, it's a pretty complex equation that goes on there, particularly as Ralph has said, since the formula changed over the last couple of years. So as soon as that comes back up, we'll see if, oh, Tim would like to address this.
So the funding has been confounding, and it took me quite a while to kind of figure it out. So when we donate to the annual fund, 50% of the money that we donate to the annual fund comes back to the district in the form of DDF, or district designated funds. That is split between district grants and global grants. So the district grant, DDF, when a club submits a project and it's approved, this in the past has been matched 1-to-1 with the district DDF.
Well, Tim, I'm sorry, you said the annual fund. When we donate to the annual fund, are you talking about TRF or what? I mean, the annual fund's a number.
The
Rotary that I don't understand.
The Rotary Foundation has the 7 areas of focus. You can donate to one of those 7 areas of focus. Most people, when they donate to the Rotary Foundation, donate to the annual fund. You can also donate to Polio Plus. You can also donate to the Peace Centers. You can donate to a specific grant, like some people have done with Chuck's grant that he proposed. The key thing to remember is only when you donate to the annual fund does half of that money come back to the district. So if I donated $1,000 to the Peace Centers, none of that money comes back to the district. If I donate $1,000 to the annual fund, half of that money comes back to the district in the form of DDF that we can use for district and global grants. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yeah.
So when on the district grant side, the district administers those funds. On the global grant side, DDF, the district only administers those funds in that we approve that DDF for a grant project. The district never really gets those funds. Those are held at the Rotary Foundation. The benefit of doing a global grant is that global grant cash that a club presents is matched by the district, and then that DDF match that we donate to that club is matched at 80% by the World Fund, which is that other half of the money that we have donated to the Rotary Foundation. So if I donate my $1,000, 500 comes back to the district, and 500 sits in the World Fund. And so when a club does a project and they request $2,700 in DDF, the World Fund matches that at $21,000. So all these are multipliers, and it's because of the donations that you've made to the Rotary Foundation. So technically about 92% of all the money that we donate to the Rotary Foundation gets used for projects.
So that means, so for this $80,000 project, they say 27,300. Where did that number come from? Was that 30% of, was that this 30% thing that?
No, so the cash that they need is $15,000. That's cash pledged. The district matches, if a club comes forward with $1,000, for example, to make it simple, the district matches the DDF 2-to-1. So we would give them $2,000 in DDF. Then the World Fund would match that $2,000 at 80%. So they would get $1,800 from the World Fund. So then you add those numbers together, the 1,000, the 2,000, and the $1,800, and that would be your grant amount.
Then is there a minimum amount of cash that a club has to come up with?
No, the minimum amount is a global grant requirement, and the minimum global grant is $30,000.
Total project.
Total project. So a club would have to come forward with $7,500-ish.
For a $30,000 project?
Yeah.
And so then for an $80,000 project, like this one,
right?
How much does the club have to come up with?
Well, it'd be the 15,000 plus the 6,600 for the total cash from the clubs, leveraged with our DDF, leveraged with the World Fund to get to the almost $81,000 total project.
There's a spreadsheet calculator that we can send you that you can play with that to see the amounts. One of the problems in looking at something simplified like you see on your screen is there could be other clubs involved and other districts involved that are giving not only cash, but district designated funds. So it becomes a fairly complicated formula. So if you'd like, we could do some scenarios if you want to.
I don't want to waste everyone. I don't want to waste everyone's time, but if you could just post the link to the calculator on the chat, that'd be great. Or send it out to.
Yeah, we'll
send it out.
We'll use it as a reference on the district webpage. So we're going to move this along here to closure. Thank you for your questions. All good, really.
Leanne, can I just say one thing? I'm going to be doing the global grant training at the club assembly in Corvallis, and I will definitely be spending time on how this whole formula works, because it's really difficult to see it when you're just talking it through. Absolutely. But to give some specific examples, which I will be doing in the training, people can really maybe grasp it a little bit more, particularly because I'll use round numbers, which doesn't work in the real world situation, but it does help you to understand the formula. So anyone who has questions about this, please, attend the global grant training I'll be doing. And you need to hear this a whole bunch of times. And probably the only time you really do understand this is when you actually write a global grant and you're working on the TRF website grant application, and you have the formula there, and you'll see how you have to play with it to make it actually work. There is a sweet spot, that we'll be going over that depends on how much DDF match happens at the district level, and then how much DDF match happens at the TRF level. That will help you maximize your amount, so that right now it's around $65,000 that a grant that allows you to absolutely maximize every matching that's there. But that could change next year. So please put that on your.
Great, Julie, thank you. And Jim, last question, I'm going to give it to you.
Okay, thank you. So we talk about global grants having to have a minimum of $30,000 project. So my question is, who comes up with this valuation? Is this an amount that has been established by our district, or is this an amount that is established by Rotary International?
The trustees of the Rotary Foundation set those the amounts.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tim. Now, to close this out, thank you. I've been looking down the participants list today, and it's great to see some people who have been with us every single meeting for the last several years, and then see some new names on there as well. So thank you for supporting the process and actively being involved with this, and certainly share any of the new information that you learned today and take it back to your club so we can get more people joining us at Cindy's meeting that'll be on July 9th that we know. So I kind of, to close out, I love new beginnings. It's amazing to me that we're coming to the end of another very challenging, that part's not amazing, but a very challenging Rotary year. And that means new beginnings. And that's always exciting. And I think this next year is going to be particularly unique because, as you see her picture on the screen, for the first time in our organization's history, we're going to have a female who's the president of Rotary International. Tim and I have had, as several of you have, I've had benefit of spending time with Jennifer, and she's a very genuine, passionate Rotarian. So I'm looking forward to that. It's very small for you to see, but I do want to read to you her comment. You see in the bottom left-hand corner, her Imagine Rotary. That's the theme, if you will, for her year serving all of our clubs and districts here. I think what she has to say explaining that is really significant to some of the things that we've done today. Imagine to me is about dreams and the obligation to run after those dreams. I want people to think about the things that they want to achieve and then use Rotary as the vehicle to get there. We have such a huge array of opportunities in front of us that we need to be channeling our energies so that we can make sustainable, impactful decisions about what we can do. The most powerful thing for a member is to be able to say, I have an idea, and then to share that with others and to amplify it and figure out where to go with it. Imagine is an empowering word, giving people permission to say that what they want to do something to make their world better, and they can do it because they are part of the Rotary family. And her last sentence here, I think, says it all for us. Our gifts to the Rotary Foundation, funding the work of Rotarians, empower each of us and empower each one of us to be part of making the world a better place. We've done some great work today. Thank you for making those significant changes and making the world a better place over this past year. And Tim, I'm going to send it back to you for closing us out.
Thanks, Leanne. I just want to say that it's been a privilege to serve the Rotarians and the clubs in this district for the past 3 years as chair of the Rotary District Rotary Committee. And I will miss doing this, but I'm sure with Leanne involved, I will be working alongside her in the background and supporting Cindy in many ways. So thank you again.